Hi there. A few nights ago I watched Better Man, the film about Robbie Williams. Now, if you guys don't know who Robbie Williams is, which is possible, especially if you're in America, he was one of the singers from a band called Take That in the UK. And he ventured out on his own. In fact, it was quite a challenge for him to do this by the looks of the film, anyway, that's what it says. Anyway, so I watched this film, Better Man. Now, I don't know whether anyone else felt the same, but when this film came out and I found out that it was about a talking monkey or, chimpanzee or whatever he's portraying himself as, I don't know, it didn't really quite hit me where maybe it should have done even. And when it came out on Premiere for into the sort of cinemas and things like that, I decided no, it probably wasn't worth my however much money going to the cinema is now, because I don't really go to the cinema very often. In fact, yeah, I've probably been once since COVID hit, or twice maybe. So yeah, I'm not really a great cinema goer. However, I do like to watch films. We've got our own little sort of home cinema thing going on here, so we don't really need to go to the cinema. I'm thinking maybe a lot of people are like that now, and they prefer watching films in the comfort of their own home. And it's nice to be able to just go pause and then get up and walk out and walk around a little bit, especially with me being an anxiety type person. I'll tell you, that was one of the worst places I used to go when I used to suffer really badly from anxiety, was the cinema, because you felt like I felt like I was trapped in there and I couldn't get out, Anyway, that's really off the subject of what this is about. So anyway, so he was a singer with, or one of the dancers really, to be fair, with Take That, and there was 5 of them, and I won't name them, because if you know them, you know them. Anyway, so I'm sort of watching the fact that he'd done this film, deciding that I didn't want to go to the cinema because I didn't think it was worth watching, just purely because of it being a talking monkey, I suppose. I don't really know why. But and then it comes out on Prime, which is Amazon Prime. I don't know whether you guys have got Amazon Prime, but we have Amazon Prime. And then they wanted a lot of money for it, to stream it, because it was a premiere. And I still didn't feel that it was sort of worth doing that for. And it got terrible reviews. It got 1 or 2 reasonable reviews, but it got some pretty bad reviews. I think it completely bombed in America, where it was bought out, and pretty much around the world it just didn't do very well. And I really think that was just a preconception thing. So people were sort of preempting the fact that they thought it was going to be horrible. And so anyway, it came out on Prime, and I still thought no. And then it came down a little bit in price to go to, so you could rent it. With Prime it comes out as a rental, but it's like a Premiere rental, and it's quite a lot of money. And then it lowers in price, and then you can buy it. I say buy it. You can buy the streaming, so you're allowed to keep streaming it from Prime. And then it went down again to a rental, a relatively low cost, but it was still, I looked at it and thought, no, maybe not. Maybe I'm making a bit too much of this. But anyway, the point I'm making now is it's on Prime for free. Now, that made me think, oh, I'll watch that straight away. Oh, I'll watch that. Nothing to lose, because we've got Prime, we pay for Prime. So we watched it. And it's a really good film. I don't know what anyone's on about, particularly. And you can see why he was, I don't know if he was advised or whether he agreed with the filmmaker to do it as a monkey. There's a good reason behind that, because he's sort of playing himself, and if you're playing yourself on one of these like biops or whatever they call them, is it biop? I think that's the word, isn't it? Yeah. So you're generally not so much dead, because but sort of getting long in the tooth, getting on a bit, or you are like, unfortunately, Amy Winehouse was. You sort of passed on, and then someone decides to do a biopic about it, and that was a good film too, although could have been better, I think. But anyway, so he did all of the acting in it with one of those suit things on, where you can do what you want and it just follows all your movements, and then they CGI the monkey's head on top of him. So that's what he did. So I can understand why he would do it that way. That makes sense. He can actually talk himself then on the film. He can sing himself on the film, which I think he did. And I think he just needed to get a younger chap to play the younger him, because of like the size difference, I'm assuming, and it was very, very good. So he goes through his life story, as they all do on these sort of things, and talks about the usual things with. I don't really want to give too much away. All I'm trying to say really is go and watch it, because you may be pleasantly surprised, especially if you're a Take That fan, and definitely if you're a Robbie Williams fan. But if you're a Robbie Williams fan, you've probably already watched it. You probably did go out. Now, as I said before, I am a Robbie Williams fan. I love Robbie Williams' stuff. It's really good. But I don't necessarily like the character of Robbie Williams. That's one of the things that used to really let him down, in my opinion. Now, not in a big way, but I think it's the only way he could get on stage and do it, was by being, and this hence the reason Better Man, he sees himself as a performing monkey. So basically he does everything that everybody tells him to do. Well, that's how he felt in Take That anyway. And so someone said, jump through a hoop, he jumped through the hoop, And when he broke free of that, and as far as I've heard, when he broke free of Take That, they sued him, or he sued them, and it ended up with him taking almost nothing from Take That from a financial perspective, even though they were an incredibly famous band, and still are now because they reformed. I'm not sure it really made Robbie Williams particularly rich. Now, you could say when Robbie Williams was with Take That, he was a very different person. And by the looks of the video, the film, he's a very ill man or young lad. He really doesn't know where he is, and he's sort of struggling with all sorts of things, the drugs and the alcohol and all that lot, which is pretty usual, isn't it, for pop artists to be struggling with that sort of thing. And I know as well, from not my personal experience, but someone that I know, that he was not a very nice person when he was with Take That. And that's just someone that worked with him once or twice. And he could be pretty, not aggressive in the sense of, physically aggressive, but just a bit of a pain in the backside, really. I think that's what it was. Now, that's his fault ultimately. Obviously, it's his fault, but it was mostly the alcohol and mostly the fact that he was an alcoholic. Now, I think he still was as well when he started to launch his solo career. So I think I saw Robbie Williams on TV first on a show with Chris Evans, something like the Saturday afternoon show or something like that. And so Robbie Williams comes on, he does his usual brashness, you know, his act. It's his act. It is what he is. He sort of learnt his trade, as it says in the film, because his dad used to watch Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, you know, all the Rat Packs. And they never really came on as themselves. They came on as an act, you know, well, the Rat Pack. And when Frank Sinatra would sing, he would have all of his patter, as they call it, down to a fine art, you know, how to talk to the band and how to talk to the audience and how to put on a show. And his dad, Robbie Williams' dad, used to do this around all the pubs and clubs and things like that. And that was where I think they got this bond with music. And so when he sort of got that bond with his dad, I think it made him think that you've got to put on an act. So he put on this act, and he was with Chris Evans from the Radio 2, you know, of Radio 2 fame, and Virgin something or other as well. I think he did Virgin Radio, didn't he, or something like that. And he picked up his acoustic guitar, I think, at the time, and played this song. And it was very, very good. And I think he won a lot of hearts then. And I mean ears and hearts. And it just exploded and blew up. And it blew up mostly in the UK. Now, you could say, in a way, because I do quite a lot of Cliff Richard songs, don't I? As you may have noticed. And that he's a little bit like the Cliff, you know, a younger Cliff Richard. And there's not in his vocal qualities, I'm not trying to say that, or even in his songwriting in the slightest. But we know Cliff Richard's not particularly well known anywhere else other than the UK. So I'm trying to say that Robbie Williams is a bit of a UK hit, isn't he? He's very much more known, well known, as it were, in the UK than he is anywhere else. And that could have been why, really, the film didn't do as well as it maybe could have done. So anyway, so he's on this show, he does that, and then he literally sort of explodes as a solo artist. And by exploding as a solo artist, he then really sort of take that nose a little bit out of joint, you know, because he's far more successful than some of the other members of the band who have tried solo careers. Although they have now, you know, I wouldn't say the word caught up, because I'm not really sure that they could ever really catch up with the success that Robbie Williams had. I mean, he ended up doing a massive showing. I say ended up, he's still doing it, but he did not the show, but he's still growing as an artist, isn't he? But he did a show at Nebworth with, like, I don't know, was it 50,000 people or something, maybe even more than that, 100,000, not really sure. But he is a great lyric writer. I don't know for certain, because he teamed up with a songwriter, and that songwriter partnership with him and Robbie Williams was a very good winning, you know, combination. The combination of two, you know, good vocal. I mean, Robbie Williams has got a good voice. It's a particular voice. It's a very, I don't know, what's the word? Well, it's unique, isn't it? It's like a slightly unique voice. The way he sings is just different. And he teamed up with Guy Chambers. I think it was Guy Chambers. So he teamed up with him. I really don't think he would have been as successful as he was without teaming up with Guy Chambers. Now, later on in his career, I think he decided to fall out with Guy Chambers or something. I think that was his name. If it wasn't his name, I apologise. And then he went with another guy, and to be fair, the results were less than great. They were okay. So anyway, he got together with Guy Chambers, did all that, released loads of stuff, and got pretty famous. And the film portrays all of this, but it's quite a sad tale, without trying to ruin the... it's not all sad, you know, I mean, he sort of comes out the other end, doesn't he? And, you know, I totally understand now why he did it that way. It's very well worth a watch, I think. It's a personal opinion, obviously. And it's on Prime for free. And that's probably what I'll call this video, Better Man on Prime. Because if you got Prime, go and watch it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think it will be interesting. And anyway, it would be really nice to know what you think about Better Man if you do watch it. And comment on this video. I'm going to release it, yeah, probably not that far away. And let me know what you think about Better Man if you've got the time to watch it. And if you haven't, then rest assured it's not as bad as everybody says it is, which is a shame, really, that it got tarred with that brush, as they say. Anyway, hope everyone's okay. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. That would be incredibly good. My subscriptions are slowly starting to rise, which is very, very good. So there I was going to say that I think I'm going to be releasing the... I think I'm going to be releasing Wonderball soon. So keep an eye out for that one. My studio version of Wonderball. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.